Before you click away, answer this. Have you ever watched a woman who said she wasn't interested suddenly light up for a guy who did nothing special? Yeah, me too. And it messed with my head for years because everything I was told about attraction was a lie. Today, I'm going to show you the hidden psychology behind how women develop desire even when they start with zero interest. This isn't about tricks. This isn't about games. This is about understanding the female brain in a way that most men will never learn. And fair warning, what I'm about to tell you will make you angry at first because you'll realize how much time you wasted doing everything wrong. Let's start with a story that changed everything for me. 3 years ago, I had a client who came to me completely broken. Let's call him Mark. Mark told me he'd been friends with this woman, Sarah, for 8 months. 8 whole months. He bought her coffee every Tuesday, listened to her problems, made her laugh. He was everything she said she wanted in a man. Patient, kind, understanding, and she friend-zoned him so hard it hurt to watch. Then one day, Mark sees Sarah at a party hanging all over this other guy, a guy who barely knew her, a guy who showed up 3 weeks ago. And Mark watched this guy do something that shattered his entire reality. The guy ignored her, not in a rude way, but when Sarah talked, this guy would sometimes just smile and look away. When she touched his arm, he'd move slightly. When she suggested they grab food, he said, "Maybe I'm actually meeting some people later." And you know what happened? Sarah became obsessed with him. Mark called me that night, angry and confused. "I did everything right," he said. "Why does she want him?" I told him the truth that nobody wants to hear because you tried to be chosen. He made her try to choose him. That's the first key to understanding female desire. Here's what nobody tells you about how women develop attraction. It's not about what you do for her. It's about what you make her feel about herself. When you chase a woman, when you're always available, when you make her the center of your world before she's earned it, you send a signal to her brain, and that signal says, "I'm beneath you." I know that sounds harsh, but your brain works the same way. Think about the last time someone was desperately trying to sell you something. Maybe a pushy salesperson, or someone who texted you 10 times when you didn't respond. How did that feel? Did it make you want the thing more? Or did it make you pull away? Women feel the same way. But here's the twist that messes with everyone's mind. When you pull back a little, when you're not always there, when your life clearly has other priorities, something happens in her brain. She starts to wonder, wait, why isn't he chasing me like other guys? And that question mark becomes a hook in her mind. This is called the uncertainty effect in psychology. Studies show that people become more attracted to someone when they're unsure about that person's interest in them. It keeps the brain engaged. It creates a gap that her mind wants to fill. But most guys do the opposite. They show all their cards immediately. They text back in 30 seconds. They cancel plans with friends to be available. They agree with everything she says. And her brain goes, "Okay, I figured him out. Next." The woman who starts with no interest in you isn't going to develop desire from you being more nice or more available. She's going to develop it when her brain can't quite figure you out. Here's something that will blow your mind. I had another client, different situation, who was dating this woman who seemed lukewarm about him. She'd respond to his texts but never initiated. She'd go on dates but never suggested them. He was frustrated because he could feel her slipping away. I told him to try an experiment for 1 week. Match her energy exactly. If she took 3 hours to text back, he'd take 3 hours. If she sent short messages, he'd send short messages. If she suggested plans, great. If not, he made other plans. You know what happened? By day 4, she was double texting him. By day 6, she invited him over. By week 2, she told him she was falling for him. What changed? He stopped being more invested than she was. This is the mirror effect, and it's one of the most powerful psychological tools for building desire. When a woman sees that you value yourself as much as you value her, it forces her to step up or step away. Most guys are terrified of this because they think if they pull back, they'll lose her. But here's the truth. If pulling back makes you lose her, you never had her in the first place. You had a situation where she was comfortable receiving your attention without giving anything back. That's not attraction, that's convenience. Real desire requires investment from both sides. And when you stop over-investing, you create space for her to invest. And the more she invests in you, the more her brain convinces her that you must be valuable. This is called effort justification in psychology. People value things more when they've worked for them. If she gets your attention for free, it's worthless. If she has to earn it, it becomes precious. Now let me tell you about the biggest mistake men make when trying to build attraction. They try to be perfect. They never disagree, never create tension, never challenge her. They think if they just keep things smooth and comfortable, she'll slowly fall for them. But that's not how female desire works. Attraction needs emotional range. It needs highs and lows. It needs moments of connection and moments of distance. It needs the feeling that something is happening, not just existing. Think about the best movie you ever watched. Did it feel good the whole time, or were there moments of tension, conflict, uncertainty? That's what keeps you watching. Relationships are the same way. When everything is flat and predictable, there's no emotional investment. But when there's push and pull, when there's playful disagreement, when there's the occasional moment where she's not sure how you feel, that's when her brain wakes up. I'm not talking about playing games or being mean. I'm talking about being real. If she says something you disagree with, say so. If she expects you to drop everything for her before you're in a relationship, don't. If she tests you by being difficult, don't reward it. Most guys are so scared of losing a woman they might get that they become yes men, and yes men are invisible. The guy who has his own opinions, who doesn't bend to her every mood, who maintains his standards, that's the guy who sticks in her mind. Because here's what happens in her brain. She has to work to understand you. She has to invest mental energy. And the more mental energy she invests, the more she feels like you must matter to her. This is why women often develop feelings for guys they initially didn't like. The challenge kept their brain engaged long enough for emotions to develop. Let me share one more client story that proves this point. This guy, let's call him James, came to me because he couldn't understand why women lost interest after a few dates. He was doing everything the movies told him to do. Flowers, compliments, full attention. I asked him one question. What did you do last weekend? He said, I stayed home in case she wanted to hang out. There's your problem. Women are attracted to men who have lives they want to be part of, not men who build their lives around her. This is the independence paradox. The more independent you are, the more attractive you become. The more you need her, the less she wants you. I told James to get a life, join a sports league, start a project, build friendships, make plans that don't involve waiting for her. 2 months later, he texted me, I'm seeing 3 women now, and I didn't even try. What changed? His energy changed. He went from, please pick me, to here's my life. You're welcome to join if you want. And that shift is everything. When a woman sees that you're living a full life, that other people value your time, that you have goals and hobbies and friends, her brain makes a calculation. If other people want his time, maybe I should too. This is social proof in action, but it's also about self-value. A man who treats himself like he's valuable becomes valuable in her eyes. A man who treats himself like he's lucky to get any attention becomes worthless in her eyes. Harsh but true. Now here's where most guys get confused. They hear women want emotional connection and think that means sharing all their feelings and being vulnerable immediately. No, emotional connection means you can hold space for real conversation. It means you listen to understand, not just to respond. It means you see her as a human being, not a prize to win. But it does not mean you become her therapist before she's your girlfriend. I see this mistake constantly. Guy meets girl. Girl shares some personal stuff. Guy thinks, great, we're connecting, and immediately goes deeper, asking about her childhood, her fears, her dreams, and she pulls away. Why? Because emotional intimacy has to be earned from both sides. When you rush it, it feels like an interview, or worse, like you're trying to fast track to boyfriend status. Real emotional connection happens naturally when you're both present, when you share experiences together, when vulnerability comes from moments, not from forcing deep talks. The guy she develops desire for is the one who can be light and fun, but also go deep when the moment calls for it. not the guy who's always trying to be her emotional support before he's earned that place. Here's something most guys don't understand. Attraction has a rhythm. You can't force it to happen on your timeline. Some women develop interest fast, others need time, others will never be interested no matter what you do, and that's okay. The guys who are successful with women understand that you plant seeds and see what grows. You don't dig up the seed every day to check if it's growing. What does this mean practically? It means you show interest, but you don't obsess over the outcome. You go on a date, have fun, and then go back to your life. You text her something interesting, but you don't panic if she doesn't respond in 5 minutes. You give attraction room to breathe. Because here's the thing, when a woman feels pressured to develop feelings, she won't. But when she feels free to develop them naturally, she often does. This is why the "I don't care if this works out" mindset is so powerful. Not because you actually don't care, but because you're not putting all your emotional eggs in one basket. You're living your life. She's welcome to be part of it. If not, someone else will be. That energy is magnetic. Let's talk about something uncomfortable. Status. Women are attracted to men who have status in some area of life. Not money, not looks. Status. Status means other people respect you. It could be status in your career, your friend group, your hobby, your community. Doesn't matter what arena, but you need to be somebody somewhere. Because when a woman sees that others value you, her brain shortcuts to "he must be valuable." This is why women develop interest in men they initially ignored once they see those men in their element. Maybe she sees you leading a meeting at work. Maybe she sees you playing guitar at an open mic. Maybe she sees you coaching a kid's soccer team. Suddenly, you're not just some guy, you're a guy who matters in a context. That shift changes everything. So if you want women to develop desire for you, stop hiding, stop playing small, find your arena and dominate it. Not to impress women, but because living at your potential is what makes you attractive by default. Here's the biggest mind shift I can give you. Start becoming someone you'd want. When you focus on being attractive to yourself, on building skills, health, character, purpose, you stop chasing women and they start noticing you. I know it sounds like generic advice, but it's the deepest truth. Every guy who came to me desperate to get one specific woman to like him failed when he kept focusing on her and succeeded when he started focusing on himself. Because desperation is repulsive, purpose is attractive. When you have a mission that matters more than her attention, you become interesting. When you treat yourself with respect, she respects you. When you have standards for who gets access to you, she wants to qualify. This isn't a trick. This is a fundamental shift in how you see yourself and your value. Now, let me tell you something that might upset you. Some women will never develop desire for you no matter what you do. And that's not about you being broken or not good enough. It's about chemistry, timing, what she's looking for, or just pure randomness. The guys who struggle most are the ones who can't accept this. They meet a woman who's not interested and think, if I just do X, Y, Z, she'll come around. No, sometimes the answer is no. And your power comes from being okay with that and moving on. Because here's what happens when you accept this. You stop wasting energy on people who aren't choosing you. You start investing in people who are, and suddenly you have abundance, not because you're a player, but because you're not stuck on one person who doesn't want you. The woman who's unsure about you at the start might develop interest if you handle it right, but the woman who's clearly not interested, move on. Your energy is valuable. Spend it where it's wanted. So here's the actual blueprint for how women develop desire, even when they start with zero interest. 1. Be less available than you want to be, not as a game, but because you have a life. 2. Match her energy. Don't overinvest before she's investing too. 3. Create emotional range. Be fun, be challenging, be real, don't be flat. 4. Have independence. Your life is the main story. She's a supporting character until she earns more. 5. Build status somewhere. Be good at something. Be respected by someone. 6. Give it space. Don't force the timeline. Plant seeds and see what grows. 7. Know when to walk away. Some women won't develop interest. That's fine. This isn't manipulation. This is understanding human psychology and working with it instead. I'm going to tell you something that might hurt. The reason most guys fail with women isn't because they don't know enough techniques. It's because they don't value themselves enough. You're out here trying to convince her you're worth her time, but you should be evaluating if she's worth yours. You're worried about losing a woman you don't even have yet, but you should be focused on building a life you don't want to lose. You're trying to become what you think she wants, but you should be becoming who you respect. When you fix that, when you genuinely start living like your time and energy matter, women notice, not all of them, but the right ones, and those are the only ones who matter. Anyway, if this video just shifted something in your brain, here's what you need to do right now. First, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications because I'm going to keep breaking down the psychology that most men never learn, the real patterns, the real game, no sugarcoating. Second, think about one woman you've been over-investing in. You know who I'm talking about. The one you text first, the one you rearrange your schedule for, the one who gives you breadcrumbs and you act like it's a feast. I want you to pull back. Not in anger, not to punish her, but to give yourself space to see if she steps up. If she does, great. If she doesn't, you just saved yourself months of wasted energy. Third, take an honest look at your life. Are you living in a way that makes you interesting? Are you building something? Are you respected somewhere? Are you taking care of your health, your mind, your purpose? If not, start today. Pick one area and commit to it for 90 days. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. You cannot attract a high-quality woman if you're a low-quality man, not because you're not good enough as a human, but because high-quality women have options. They choose men who are living at a high level. So become that man, not for her, for you, and watch how everything changes. Drop a comment below telling me which point hit you hardest. Was it the mirror effect, the independence paradox, the status switch? I read every single comment and I'll respond to as many as I can. And if you know a guy who needs to hear this, send him this video. Not to be rude, but because the truth is the greatest gift you can give someone who's stuck. This is your wake-up call. Stop chasing, start becoming. The women you want will follow. I'll see you in the next